You're 22 years old, standing in front of a mirror in Tucson, Arizona, pinning a badge to your chest for the first time. Border Patrol. You think you're about to start protecting the country. You don't realize you're about to become part of the corruption you were trained to stop. 6 months of training just behind you. Federal salary, benefits, purpose. Your instructors told you this job matters. Protect the border, enforce the law, serve your country. It sounds clean when they say it like that. Your first assignment is a checkpoint 40 miles north of the border, Highway 19. Every vehicle heading into the interior passes through here. Your job is simple. Ask questions, check documents, watch for nervous behavior. If something feels wrong, send them to secondary inspection. If everything checks out, wave them through. Your training officer is named Vasquez. 12 years on the job. He shows you the rhythm. Most cars take 30 seconds. Citizenship? Where are you headed? Anything to declare? The answers are almost always the same. American citizen. Tucson. No. You wave them through. Again and again. Hundreds of cars every shift. But some cars are different. Vasquez can tell before they even reach the window. The way the driver grips the wheel. The way passengers go too still. He pulls them aside without hesitation, and usually he's right. Bundles of marijuana hidden in spare tires. Undocumented people crammed in the back seat. Occasionally something worse. 3 weeks in, a white pickup rolls up to your lane. Solo driver. Arizona plates. He answers your questions correctly, but his hands are shaking. Vasquez watches from the booth. He nods towards secondary. You motion the truck over. In secondary, Vasquez walks around the vehicle slowly. He doesn't rush. He's done this 1,000 times. He opens the toolbox in the bed. Empty. He checks under the seats. Nothing. Then he pops the spare tire. There it is. 50 pounds of methamphetamine wrapped in plastic. The driver doesn't run, doesn't argue, just puts his hands up. You call it in. DEA takes over. Vasquez claps you on the shoulder. Good instincts. You feel something then. Pride, maybe. You did your job. You stopped something bad from reaching the interior. But the next week, something else happens. A different truck. Similar setup. Solo driver. Nervous energy. You send him to secondary. Vasquez does his check, finds nothing. The driver is clean, just anxious because he's got warrants for unpaid tickets. Vasquez lets him go with a warning. As the truck pulls away, Vasquez leans against the booth. You know what the difference was? You shake your head. First guy was a mule, expendable. Cartel doesn't care if he gets caught. Second guy was nobody, just scared. You learn to tell the difference. That phrase sticks with you. You learn to tell the difference. It sounds reasonable, professional even, but it also means something else. It means not everyone gets treated the same way. A month later, you're working night shift. Slower traffic, mostly commercial trucks. One semi pulls up and the driver hands you his documents without making eye contact. Everything looks legitimate. Freight manifest says he's hauling produce. But Vasquez walks over. He glances at the paperwork, then looks at you. Send him through. You hesitate. Something feels off. Vasquez repeats himself. Send him through. You wave the truck on. It disappears into the darkness. Later, in the break room, you ask why. Vasquez pours coffee, takes his time answering. That driver cooperates with us, gives us information. We make it easy for him, he makes it easy for us. You stare at your own coffee. Information about what? About the trucks we should be stopping, the ones that matter. The logic almost makes sense. You can't catch everything. Resources are limited. If someone on the inside helps you prioritize, everyone wins, except you know what was probably in that truck. You know why the driver wouldn't look at you. You don't say anything. You finish your coffee. You go back to the checkpoint. You wave cars through, one after another, just like you were trained. But now there are 2 sets of rules, the official ones and the real ones. And you're starting to learn which ones actually matter. Level 2. The agent. 6 months at the checkpoint and you've learned the real job. It's not about stopping every threat. That's impossible. It's about managing flow, keeping quotas reasonable, and knowing when to look the other way. Vasquez gets promoted to supervise another shift. Your new partner is an older guy named Ruiz, 22 years in the agency. He doesn't talk much during the first week, just watches you work, evaluates. On Friday, he finally speaks. You're doing fine, but you're working too hard. You don't understand yet. A truck rolls through your lane. Commercial freight. The driver hands you documents that don't quite match the manifest. Small discrepancy. Easy to miss if you wanted to. You flag it. Send him to secondary. Ruiz walks over after the inspection, finds nothing. That driver's been crossing here for 8 years. Never had a problem. You're making enemies you don't need. The message is clear. Some things aren't worth the trouble. That weekend, you're at a gas station near the border. A man approaches while you're pumping fuel. He doesn't introduce himself, just mentions that he appreciates professional officers who understand how business works. He hands you a folded newspaper. There's an envelope inside. $500. You should throw it back, report it, follow procedure. Instead, you pocket it. You tell yourself it's a one-time thing. It's not. The next month, another envelope. Different person, same routine. The money helps. Your apartment is nicer now. You're sending more home to your mother. She asks where the extra income comes from. You tell her overtime. She doesn't push. Level 3. The insider. 2 years in and you've built relationships on both sides. The legitimate trucking companies know you're reasonable. The illegitimate ones know you're available. You don't take money from everyone. That would be stupid. You're selective, careful, strategic. There's a hierarchy to corruption. Some loads you stop because refusing would raise questions. Some you wave through because that's the arrangement. The key is balance. Appear effective enough to avoid scrutiny. Cooperative enough to stay valuable. Your supervisor never asks direct questions. He reviews your stats monthly. Seizure numbers are adequate. Processing times are efficient. No complaints from commercial operators. He signs off without comment. That's approval enough. You're at a bar one night when Vasquez sits down next to you. He's drinking whiskey. Looks tired. He asks if you're happy with how things turned out. You're not sure how to answer. He continues without waiting. This job breaks people 2 ways. Either you stay clean and burn out from fighting a war you can't win, or you adapt and hate yourself quietly. Neither option is good, but one pays better. He finishes his drink and leaves. You sit there thinking about the checkpoint, about the trucks you've waved through, about the money in your account that didn't come from your salary. You think about the agents who stayed honest. Where are they now? Transferred to remote stations, buried in paperwork, ignored by management. The system doesn't reward integrity, it punishes inefficiency. You're efficient now, very efficient. Level 4, the arrest. It happens on a Tuesday morning. Federal agents arrive at your apartment before sunrise. They have a warrant. They have recordings. They have bank records showing deposits that don't match your reported income. In the interrogation room, they lay out everything. Dates, amounts, names. They know about the trucking company payments. They know about the cash handoffs. They know which loads you cleared without proper inspection. The lead investigator is a woman named Torres. She's been building this case for 18 months. She explains that you're not the target. You're leverage. They want the organization above you. The smuggling network. The supervisors who coordinate. She slides a cooperation agreement across the table. Testify against them and you'll serve minimal time. Refuse and you'll spend the next decade in federal prison. You stare at the document. Every signature you'd have to give. Every person you'd have to betray. You think about Vasquez, about Ruiz, about the system that taught you these rules. Then you think about something else. You were 23 when you started. You believed in the mission. Somewhere between then and now, you became what you were supposed to stop. Torres is waiting. The agreement sits between you. Your entire future depends on what you choose next. You sign the agreement. 3 years later, you're out. Witness protection offered you a new identity in a different state, but you declined. You moved to a small town in New Mexico where nobody knows your name or your history. You work at a hardware store now. Minimum wage. No badge, no authority, no envelopes full of cash. Sometimes customers recognize something in you. The way you carry yourself, the way you watch the door. They ask if you were military. You just nod. Close enough. The trial made regional news. 6 supervisors convicted, a smuggling network dismantled. The agency called it a victory against corruption. What they didn't mention was how many others are still there, still waving trucks through, still taking payments, still learning which rules actually matter. You think about that morning in Tucson when you pinned the badge on for the first time. How clean everything seemed. How simple the mission sounded. Protect the border. Enforce the law. Serve your country. Nobody tells you the border isn't a line. It's a market. And markets don't care about badges or oaths or the promises you made to yourself about who you'd never become. You were 22 when this started. You're 29 now. The person you were wouldn't recognize the person you became. Maybe that's the real cost. Not the prison time or the lost career, but the part of yourself you traded away one small compromise at a time until there was nothing left worth protecting.